Good morning. My name is David Muhammad, and I speak today as the co-director of the California Alliance for Youth and Community Justice. To Senator Hancock and the distinguished members of this committee, I am testifying today in strong support of SB124, a bill that would limit the harmful practice of solitary confinement of youth in the juvenile justice system. As the former Chief Probation Officer of Alameda County and the former Deputy Commissioner of Probation in New York City and the former Chief of Community Services in Washington, D.C.'s juvenile justice system, I have worked in and have administered many juvenile facilities across the country. The issue of solitary confinement has been a difficult one and challenging for many decades. There is mounting evidence and growing consensus that the use of solitary confinement is not only inhumane and detrimental, but ineffective and leads to worse youth outcomes, including the most horrifying result of suicide. Conservative columnist George Will recently wrote that the use of solitary confinement equates to torture. When I managed what has become a model facility in Washington, D.C. called New Beginnings, we implemented the Performance-Based Standards Program. PBS was created by the Council of Juvenile Correctional Administrators, a highly regarded and respected organization of directors of juvenile facilities across the country. As documented in its reports on reducing the use of solitary confinement, quote, PBS standards are clear. Isolating or confining a youth to his or her room should be used only to protect the youth from harming him or herself or others, and if used, should be brief and supervised. PBS sites must document when a youth is isolated for more than 15 minutes. Our work in Washington, D.C. was based on the successful and renowned Missouri model. The state of Missouri has long been identified as having the best and most effective juvenile facilities. Missouri very rarely uses separation rooms, and when they do, it is only for a very brief time. When Alameda County built its new juvenile facility and opened in 2007, it did not replicate the old boys control unit that existed in the old juvenile hall. Boys control was an entire unit for solitary confinement. Recognizing that it was costly and harmful, the county did not build such a unit in the new facility. When I became Chief Probation Officer of Alameda County, we began significantly reducing the use of solitary confinement, which was already declining. We were also planning to become a PBS facility, which means we were adopting the policy that solitary confinement would only be used as an immediate and urgent tactic to calm a youth down temporarily after an incident. But as soon as the youth is safe and calm, the solitary confinement would end, with the goal of the time of confinement not being more than 15 minutes. I was recently among a delegation of experts who was asked to visit Rikers Island by the New York City Mayor's office to offer ideas on how to end solitary confinement of adolescents in that facility. The adolescent solitary confinement unit was horrifying, with young people spending 90 days in 23-hour-a-day rooms. But the city has since closed the unit and have ended and abolished the practice of solitary confinement. California must do the same. There is some discussion that solitary confinement does not happen in county facilities in California, and I wish that were true across the board, though I agree there has been great significant progress in the last several years. But if correctional administrators say this doesn't happen, then certainly there should be no opposition to this bill. Solitary confinement, regardless of what other name we put on it, is harmful and ineffective. I have always been very concerned about the safety of youth and staff in juvenile facilities. Solitary confinement actually makes youth and staff less safe. SB124 proposes a policy that is safe, effective, and humane. I strongly urge members of this committee to support SB124. Thank you.